Hi guys. So if you're watching this video, thank you. And I don't know, I just felt like I've been gone from the makeup community for months just because I went through something very traumatic, and I just feel like I owe you guys an explanation. And also I wanted to do this video because I know that other women have went through this, and for me, in my experience, watching videos like this helped me get through my tough time. So I promise I'm not going to cry on this video. This is my first time doing my makeup since I've had my miscarriage, and I feel really pretty. I haven't felt pretty in months because I just completely let myself go. Like, I just did not want to do anything but just be sad and wallow. But I'm not gonna do that to myself. I gotta get myself back together, have to get my spirits back up. So me and my boyfriend have been trying for maybe about a year now, and the month that I conceived, I was not trying at all. Like, not that I forgot or anything, but it was just kind of like, it was just not, it wasn't a thing. I wasn't aware of anything going on. The day that I was supposed to be getting my cycle, which was October, I want to say it was like the 7th or the 6th or something like that, I had some spotting. So I always spot before I get my cycle. So it's usually I spot one day and then the next day it's like a full-blown cycle. So I started spotting the day that I was supposed to get my period. So I was like, okay, whatever. So the next day when I didn't get my period, it was kind of weird, but then I was like, okay, whatever, because I've been like 3 or 4 days late before, so it was just kind of like, okay, I'm like 2 days late, but whatever, it's not a big deal. The day after that, I spotted again, so in my head I'm like, okay, it's gonna come tomorrow. And I was like, okay, so at this point I am 3 days late. And then the next day after that, I expected my period to just start, and it didn't. So I was like, okay, so at this point I'm 4 days late. I think by this time this was like a Friday. And then Saturday I was like waiting for it to come. Like, it just felt like it was gonna start. So the next day on Sunday, I was just waiting for it to come. Like, I was like waiting. Like, I woke up Sunday morning and it just felt like it was there. So I was like, okay, let me hurry up and get what I need and run to the bathroom, and there was nothing. So I was like, okay. So that's when I started to be like, okay, at this point I'm like 6 days late, I think. And I was like, something's a little strange. I wasn't feeling weird at all, to be honest. Like, I didn't have any, no, I'm lying. I did have symptoms. Like, I was having really weird dreams about cows and bananas. Like, I was having some really out-of-pocket dreams, like, and some dreams were like really scary. My face never breaks out, and I don't know if you guys can see, this is like some aftermath of like my face being just terrible. Like, this whole side of my face was just so broken out, and I was like, what the hell is going on with my face? Like, usually when I get my cycle, I have like one bump here, or like, you know, I have one bump around my mouth area somewhere, but like literally this whole side of my face was just like, it was disgusting. But that Sunday I was just kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I was like, I'm not doing this to myself, and I know I'm not pregnant, so I'm not about to play this game with myself. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait until it comes. So Monday came, and I had some, you know, me and my boyfriend were trying, so I did have pregnancy tests. So I had 2 in my car, like the little Walmart cheap ones. And so I put them in my purse Monday night, and I was like, okay, if my cycle does not start in the morning, then I will go ahead and take the test. And on Wednesday he was going out of town, so I was like, if I am pregnant, I do want to tell him before he leaves. So Monday night, and I wasn't telling my boyfriend any of this because I was like, I'm not about to make this a big deal and then I turn around and not be pregnant and be embarrassed. Like, we're not doing that. So I was like, okay. So Monday night came, and then Tuesday morning came. When I tell you I was so for sure that I started my period, like, I jumped up so quick because I'm like, it's something going on down there. Went to the bathroom, and then there was just nothing. So I was like, okay. My boyfriend was still asleep, and I was like, well, I don't really want to take the test while he's here. I'll just take it after he leaves for work. So I was waiting. Like, I was not excited to take this test. I really didn't want to, and I think this was the first time that I really didn't want to take a test. because I thought it was going to be negative, but something in the back of my mind was like, girl, you like 8 days late now. Like, I'm known to be like four days late, maybe pushing 5, but I've never been 8 days late. So I knew it was something going on. Tuesday comes, and I was on the phone with my friend, and I didn't say anything to her about it. We were just, you know, talking normal conversations on the phone. And in my mind, I'm like, let me just go take this damn test so it can be negative, and then I can just start my period, because that's always what happens. And I pee in a cup, and I'm just on the phone talking, because at this point I'm like, I know I'm not pregnant. Again, I'm just on the phone, just blah blah blah, just talking. And then I just kind of like glance over at it, and I was like, oh shit. It's like, okay, this been in my car for months. These pregnancy tests been in my car for months. They broke. Like, this cannot be, they're broke. So I had another one. Like I said, I had 2 in my car. So I pulled out the other one, and I did it, and the same thing popped up. And this is, I don't know if you guys can see, this is what it looked like. He was so excited. Like, first thing he said to me, he was like, is this a joke? Like, and I was like, wow. First of all, where would I get all these damn pregnancy tests from? And why would I play like this? Like, this is something we both want. Like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. So he was really excited. And of course, he wanted to tell everybody really quickly. And I think because it was my first pregnancy and I was so excited, I wanted to tell everybody really quickly. So I told people that pertained in life. Like, I didn't go on social media. To this day, people on social media, well, now they'll know that I was pregnant. But I didn't tell anybody on social media about my pregnancy, just because I just wanted to wait. But the people that, you know, were immediate family, I felt like I wanted to share the good news with them. So I told him. He went out of town, and I just kind of carried on. Saturday night, like I said, Saturdays I work 15 hours. I was at work, and it was the end of my shift. It was like 9:50 something. I get off at 10 o'clock, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and I wiped, and I seen a little bit of blood, and I flipped my shit. Like, I was so scared. I was so stressed out. And normally I really don't care if people at my job are late to work, but I was like, whoever needs to come up here need to come up here now, because I need to go. Like, I'm having an emergency. I need to leave. So they let me go. And when I tell you I sped to the hospital, like, I sped to the hospital. I picked up my mom, and when I got to the hospital, they put me back there really quickly, and the lady handed me a pad, and I was like, I don't need that. And she was like, so you're not bleeding heavy? And I was like, no. So she did a kind of like a pap smear, kind of where they stick something in there. And well, first I had to do a pregnancy test, because the lady was like, well, why do you think you're pregnant? Like, she was so bitchy. Like, I was so annoyed, and my blood pressure was so high, my heart rate was so high. Like, they were really worried about me. Like, they was like, do you have high blood pressure? And I was like, no. And they were like, my blood pressure was like 180 over, it was something completely insane. Like, I was like so stressed out and so scared. And they did a pregnancy test. They was like, okay, you're pregnant. And I'm like, well, yeah, I told you that. So they let me go do a transvaginal ultrasound. That was my first ultrasound. And of course, they don't let you see anything. So the lady's like scrolling around, taking pictures and whatnot. So after that, they sent me back upstairs, and it felt like forever for the doctor to come back. So the doctor came back, and they're like, well, you have bacterial vaginosis, and it's really common with early pregnancy, this, that, and the third. So she prescribed me some pills to take. I think it was like for 7 days or something like that. And then she was like, yeah, we did the ultrasound, and she was like, your uterine lining is really thick, which indicates pregnancy. She was like, but we don't see anything. Like, there's no gestational sac, there's no fetus, there's no fetal pole. Like, we don't see anything. And the lady was like, well, it's either, which is just a terrible thing to say. She's like, okay, well, you're either having a miscarriage, or you're just really, really, really early, and we just can't see anything yet. And she was like, but I'm not sure which one it is. So at this moment, I'm like, I'm having a miscarriage. And I automatically go into like, I'm like crying. I'm like, what the hell did I do wrong in life to deserve this? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I was the most stressed I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I was just praying so much and so hard. And after that time that I had spotted that Saturday night, it kind of tapered off. And my appointment with my OBGYN was already coming up. So I think that Wednesday, or no, they told me to go to patients first and get my HCG levels retested. So when I left the hospital, they told me that my HCG level was 350, I think. I want to say it was like 350. And they said go to patients first tomorrow, which would have been a Monday morning, get your HCG tested, and then the next day they'll probably call you and let's see if it's going up or if it's going down. So that was stress in its own, because I'm like, now I have to wait like 2 days for an answer as to whether it's going up or down. So I went, they did the test, and she called me back and she said, okay, your numbers are like, I think it was like 420 something. So she was like, they're going up, so that's really good. So I kind of was able to breathe. Like, I was like, okay, okay. The spotting just never stopped. Like, it wasn't bad, but I'm just like, if I'm pregnant, I should not be spotting every time I wipe. Like, it was literally like every time. Sometimes it'll be just like a little pink, sometimes it'll be like a little tiny bit of red. Like, it was never anything like alarming, like, oh my god, like I need to go back to the hospital. But it was still kind of like, this shouldn't be happening. And I told that to my the OBG office, because I called them back and I'm like, hey, I'm spotting and I think I'm having a miscarriage. Like, I called them a few days later because I had to travel. Like, it was just such stress. All of this while at this point now I'm bleeding crazy. Like, it was a Saturday night again, or no, it was a Friday night, and I went to the bathroom and I wiped and it was just like more blood. And I told my boss, like, hey, if I'm bleeding more in the morning, I'm not coming in. Like, I'm not doing it. So when I woke up that morning, it was just so much. Like, I had to put on a pad. And it was in that moment, I was like, I know I'm having a miscarriage. Like, it was just... And at this point, I was almost annoyed, because I'm like, why is this happening to me? Like, me and my boyfriend worked so hard for this baby. Like, why is this happening to me? I was so irritated and I was so angry and I was sad, and it was just so many emotions. So after that, I had an appointment on, I want to say November 11th. This was when I really started bleeding hard. It was November 2nd. So November 11th, I had my OBGYN appointment. That was supposed to be my first ultrasound, but I knew that I had lost the baby. Like, my boobs weren't hurting anymore. Like, I didn't have any more symptoms. You just know, like, after you find out you're pregnant, you know what it feels like. And then I just didn't feel that way anymore. Like, I knew that it was gone. Like, I knew I wasn't pregnant anymore. So I went to the doctor and I told the doctor about it, and she was like, okay, well, let's do an ultrasound. And they did an ultrasound, and she said exactly what the ER said. She was like, I don't see anything. She was like, well, it looks like you passed everything. And she was like, that's good, that way you don't have to have a DNC. And I loved my OBGYN so much. She was so sweet and so supportive, because I was not okay. Like, even though I already knew that the baby was gone, just having that confirmation just broke my heart. Like, it broke my heart so much. Like, so bad. It broke my heart. Told myself I wasn't gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I just found a lot of comfort in watching videos of women who went through the same thing as me, and just having my feelings validated, because some days I felt okay, and then other days I felt so terrible. Like, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything with myself. Like, I didn't want to do anything. I'm not really one to share a lot of my personal business, but I feel like if I can help anybody going through the situation, then I'm willing to help.